Have you ever wondered why the most notorious motorcycle club in television history rode bikes hiding secrets deeper than any SAMCRO storyline? What if Harley-Davidson's relationship with Sons of Anarchy involved decisions so strange that even the most obsessive fans never uncovered them? These are 20 weird facts about Sons of Anarchy's Harley-Davidson bikes that will completely blow your mind. Number 20. Harley-Davidson almost refused the partnership entirely.
Let's go save the children.
When Sons of Anarchy's production team approached Harley-Davidson in 2007 seeking manufacturer support for the upcoming series, the brand's marketing division was genuinely divided about whether association with an outlaw motorcycle club drama served their commercial interests. Harley-Davidson had spent years carefully repositioning their brand away from outlaw connotations toward mainstream lifestyle appeal. A television series centered on criminal motorcycle gang activity represented exactly the association their marketing strategy had been methodically dismantling. Senior executives reviewed the pilot script and raised formal objections internally. The partnership survived only because a faction within Harley-Davidson's marketing team argued compellingly that the show's audience demographics matched their target customer profile almost precisely. The deciding vote came from a single senior executive who overruled the objections. Without that intervention, Sons of Anarchy would have sourced its bikes from a completely different manufacturer. Number 19. The club's Dyna lowriders were secretly upgraded beyond stock specification. The Harley-Davidson Dyna, lowrider models assigned to SAMCRO's core members throughout Sons of Anarchy's 7-season run, appeared on screen as essentially stock motorcycles carrying period-correct custom accessories. Underneath their carefully maintained standard appearance, every principal character bike had been mechanically upgraded well beyond factory specification before filming began. The production's transportation coordinator made this decision after preliminary test rides revealed that stock Dyna engines struggled to maintain the consistent throttle response required for formation riding sequences involving multiple bikes operating in precise coordination. The upgrades focused primarily on carburation, ignition timing, and exhaust flow, producing meaningfully improved throttle consistency without altering the bike's external appearance. Harley-Davidson was informed of the modifications and raised no objection, recognizing that poor mechanical performance during filming would reflect negatively on the brand regardless of whether modifications were technically sanctioned. Number 18. Jax Teller's bike was actually 3 completely different motorcycles. The white Harley-Davidson that defined Jax Teller's visual identity across Sons of Anarchy's entire run was not a single motorcycle. 3 completely separate machines shared the role across 7 seasons, each serving different production functions while maintaining identical external appearance. The hero bike handled close-up and dialogue-adjacent sequences requiring pristine visual condition. A mechanically identical stunt unit absorbed the physical punishment of action and sequences and riding scenes, demanding repeated aggressive passes. A third static display unit was used exclusively for scenes where the bike appeared in the background or foreground without being ridden. Managing the visual consistency between 3 separate machines across 7 years of production required a dedicated continuity program. Even minor variations in weathering, paint condition, or accessory positioning required correction between filming days to prevent visible inconsistencies appearing in the edit. Clip idea 1. Sons of Anarchy. Sequences from different seasons showing Jax's white Harley-Davidson, representing the 3 separate machines that shared the iconic role. Clip idea 2. Television production picture vehicle continuity management documentary footage, explaining how multiple identical units are maintained across multi-season production schedule. Number 17. The show's bikes were maintained by a crew member with a criminal record. The primary motorcycle technician responsible for maintaining the Sons of Anarchy hero bikes throughout the majority of the production's run, had a personal history that the show's producers were fully aware of before hiring him. The technician had a prior criminal conviction related to motorcycle theft that had occurred more than a decade before he joined the production. His knowledge of Harley-Davidson mechanical systems was, by every account from the transportation department, genuinely exceptional. The production made a deliberate decision that his mechanical expertise outweighed any administrative concern about his background. Several crew members later noted the particular irony of a man with a motorcycle theft conviction being entrusted with some of the most valuable picture bikes in television production history. He remained with the production for 5 consecutive seasons and was consistently described by the transportation coordinator as the single most valuable member of the vehicle maintenance team throughout that period. Number 16, Harley-Davidson quietly supplied bikes that weren't available to the public.
Where you heading?
Yet during Sons of Anarchy's middle seasons, Harley-Davidson supplied the production with at least 2 motorcycle models that had not yet reached commercial availability in the specifications appearing on screen. The arrangement mirrored the product launch strategy BMW had employed with the James Bond franchise, using the show's substantial audience reach as an advanced preview platform for upcoming product. The specific models involved were variants of existing Harley-Davidson lines rather than entirely new platforms, incorporating updated components and styling elements scheduled for retail release in the following model year. Their appearance on screen generated immediate online discussion among Harley-Davidson enthusiasts, who noticed the unfamiliar specification details and began attempting to identify what they were seeing. Harley-Davidson's communications team managed these discussions by neither confirming nor denying the pre-release nature of what had appeared on screen, maintaining deliberate ambiguity until the official product announcements arrived. Number 15. A Real 1% Club objected to the show's Harley-Davidson portrayal. The Sons of Anarchy production received formal communication from a Real Outlaw motorcycle club during the show's 2nd season, objecting specifically to the manner in which the Harley-Davidson motorcycles were being portrayed and maintained on screen. The club's objection was technical rather than narrative. Their communication argued that the condition and presentation of the SAMCRO bikes bore no resemblance to the standards an authentic 1%er club would apply to their machines. Specific criticisms addressed paint condition, chrome maintenance, and accessory selection that the club characterized as reflecting Hollywood assumptions rather than genuine motorcycle culture. The production took the communications seriously enough to arrange a confidential consultation with club representatives, resulting in specific modifications to the bike preparation approach for subsequent seasons. Several former crew members have noted that the bikes in later seasons reflected meaningfully more authentic maintenance standards than those seen in the earliest episodes. Number 14. The show's signature riding formation was illegal in California. The distinctive riding formation used by SAMCRO throughout Sons of Anarchy, with bikes arranged in a specific staggered pattern at close intervals during highway sequences, violated California Vehicle Code provisions governing motorcycle formation riding on public roads. The sequences filmed on actual California highways required the production to obtain special filming permits that temporarily suspended the applicable code provisions for the duration of each filming day. Without those permits, the California Highway Patrol could have cited every rider in the formation simultaneously. The permit applications required detailed safety plans specifying minimum following distances, maximum filming speeds, and safety vehicle positioning. The actual formation distances used during filming were significantly tighter than the safety plans specified, a discrepancy the production managed by ensuring no highway patrol personnel were positioned where they could directly observe the formation during actual filming passes. Number 13. Charlie Hunnam dropped a hero. Bike on the first day of filming. The incident that the Sons of Anarchy Transportation Department most frequently referenced in subsequent internal discussions about actor motorcycle handling, occurred on the very first day of principal photography. Charlie Hunnam, who had represented his riding ability during casting as sufficient for the role's requirements, lost control of Jax Teller's hero bike during a low-speed maneuvering sequence early in the first shooting day and dropped it on the production lot. The hero bike sustained cosmetic damage requiring overnight repair before it could return to camera. Hunnam was unhurt. The transportation coordinator's immediate response was to arrange an intensive riding program that Hunnam completed over the following 2 weeks before any further sequences requiring genuine riding were scheduled. The drop was never mentioned in any production press material. Hunnam subsequently developed sufficient riding ability to perform a meaningful proportion of his on-screen riding without a double. Number 12. The charming scenes. Used bikes registered in 3 different states.
Head out on the highway. On the line from 9 to 5.
The Harley-Davidson fleet operating throughout Sons of Anarchy's fictional charming California setting was, from a vehicle registration standpoint, a logistical patchwork that would have been immediately apparent to any law enforcement officer examining the plates. Production bikes were registered across California, Nevada, and Arizona, depending on where each unit had been sourced, prepared, or previously held. Maintaining consistent fictional California plates across all on-screen appearances, while the actual registration documentation reflected 3 different states, required careful management of which plates appeared in which sequences. Close examination of high-definition, broadcast versions of several episodes reveals background bikes carrying plates that are inconsistent with the show's California setting. The inconsistencies are most visible in crowd scenes, where the transportation department's ability to control every visible registration detail was limited by the sheer number of bikes on screen simultaneously. Number 11. Harley-Davidson vetoed a storyline specifically because of how it featured their bikes. During the writer's room development of a Sons of Anarchy Season 4 storyline, Harley-Davidson exercised a contractual consultation right to object to a planned narrative that would have depicted SAMCRO bikes being used in a specific criminal activity the manufacturer considered reputationally damaging, beyond acceptable fictional context. The objection was not about the show's general outlaw themes, which the partnership had accommodated from the beginning. The specific sequence in question involved the Harley-Davidson bikes being used in a manner that Harley-Davidson's legal and marketing teams argued crossed from dramatic fiction into territory that could generate direct, negative association with the brand and mainstream media coverage. The production's writers revised the storyline, reassigning the activity to vehicles that weren't Harley-Davidson products. The revision required rewriting 3 episodes. The original storyline has never been publicly described by anyone involved in the production. Number 10. The show's final season required an entirely new bike fleet.
Stop.
When Sons of Anarchy entered its 7th and final season, the transportation department faced a fleet replacement challenge that had been building progressively across the preceding 3 seasons. The accumulated mechanical wear on the principal hero bikes had reached a threshold where maintaining the visual consistency and mechanical reliability the production required had become genuinely unsustainable through repair alone. A decision was made to retire the existing hero fleet and prepare entirely new units built to match the established screen appearance of the bikes audiences had been watching for 6 years. The replacement program required sourcing matching base models, replicating years of accumulated cosmetic character, and matching specific accessory configurations that had become visually locked into each character's established bike identity. The most challenging aspect was artificially replicating the organic wear patterns that 6 years of genuine production use had created on the retiring bikes. The transportation team spent 3 weeks developing techniques for matching these patterns convincingly on fresh machines. Audiences watching the final season had no indication they were seeing replacement bikes. The retired fleet was subsequently broken up, with individual components retained as spare parts for the new units throughout the final production block. Number 9. A stunt sequence destroyed 4 bikes in a single filming day. Among the most costly single shooting days in Sons of Anarchy's production history was a stunt sequence filmed during the 3rd season that consumed 4 Harley-Davidson units before the transportation department had achieved a usable take. The sequence involved a multi-bike crash scenario requiring precise coordination between several stunt riders and a vehicle contact element that the stunt coordinator had calculated as achievable within a 2-attempt window based on pre-production testing. The testing had been conducted on a surface that proved meaningfully different from the actual filming location's tarmac composition. The difference in surface friction altered the dynamics of the sequence sufficiently to make the pre-production calculations inaccurate. The first attempt produced an uncontrolled secondary impact, destroying 2 bikes simultaneously. The second attempt failed for mechanical reasons unrelated to the stunt design. The third attempt achieved the visual result required, but destroyed the remaining 2 units in the process. The total replacement cost for 4 Harley-Davidson units in a single day represented the largest single-day vehicle expenditure in the production's history to that point. The sequence lasts approximately 12 seconds in the finished episode. The transportation coordinator submitted his expense documentation with a note that the cost per second figure was one he preferred not to calculate formally. Number 8. Ron Perlman's bike was fitted with hidden modifications for his comfort.
Opie's logo is SOA with a pile of skulls. His logo is bigger because he really likes
Clay Morrow's imposing Harley-Davidson, ridden by Ron Perlman throughout Sons of Anarchy's first 5 seasons, carried a series of hidden ergonomic modifications that were never disclosed in any production documentation, and would be invisible to any viewer examining the bike on screen. Perlman had existing hip and lower back conditions that made the standard riding position of the assigned Dyna model uncomfortable during extended filming days involving repeated mounting, dismounting, and stationary holding sequences. The transportation department's solution was a comprehensively modified seating and foot peg arrangement that repositioned Perlman's riding posture without altering any externally visible element of the bike's appearance. The seat pan was rebuilt with internal geometry changes invisible from outside. The foot peg positioning was adjusted through custom bracket fabrication, painted to match the surrounding components. The handlebar rise was modified fractionally within a range the camera would not register as different from the standard configuration. Perlman's scenes, involving extended riding, required significantly fewer breaks than the production schedule had initially allocated once the modifications were in place. The transportation coordinator never publicly discussed the modifications. Their existence was confirmed only when a crew member mentioned them during a specialist automotive podcast interview, several years after the show concluded. Number 7. The Belfast episodes required Harley-Davidson to approve an entirely different bike preparation. Sons of Anarchy's 3rd season. Belfast sequences presented Harley-Davidson with a preparation approval request that differed fundamentally from everything the partnership had previously negotiated. The Northern Irish filming environment required the bikes to be prepared for operation in conditions of sustained rainfall, lower ambient temperatures, and road surface qualities that were entirely different from the Southern California environment where the standard preparation specification had been developed. The production's transportation team submitted a revised preparation proposal to Harley-Davidson that included modifications to the electrical systems, weatherproofing treatments on specific components, and tire specification changes addressing the wet road conditions. Harley-Davidson's technical review team approved the proposal with 2 specific conditions. First, none of the weatherproofing treatments could alter any externally visible component. Second, all modifications had to be fully reversible to standard specification before any bike was returned to the manufacturer. The Irish preparation program added 11 working days to the pre-production timeline and cost significantly more than the standard preparation for the equivalent number of units. The bikes performed reliably throughout the Belfast filming block. Every modification was reversed before the fleet returned to the United States, exactly as the approval conditions required. Number 6. The show created a Harley-Davidson resale market that dealers weren't prepared for.
Is that right? John the Revelator wrote the book of the seven.
And here comes the guy on the horse riding up, and instead of the guy on the horse.
Within weeks of Sons of Anarchy's premiere episode, Harley-Davidson dealerships across the United States began experiencing an unusual pattern in customer inquiries. Buyers were arriving specifically requesting the Dyna Lowrider configuration, as seen on the show, frequently carrying printed screen captures and requesting specific accessory combinations that match the SAMCRO bikes as closely as possible. The phenomenon grew progressively stronger across the first 2 seasons, as the show's audience expanded. Dealerships had not anticipated the demand pattern and were frequently unable to fulfill requests from existing inventory. Harley-Davidson's sales operations team identified the trend through dealer reporting approximately 4 months into the first season and began adjusting production allocation and accessory inventory accordingly. The internal sales analysis from that period, portions of which were referenced in a subsequent industry publication, credited Sons of Anarchy with generating a measurable and sustained increase in Dyna model sales that continued well beyond the show's conclusion. The effect was most pronounced among buyers in the 35 to 55 age demographic, which corresponded almost precisely with the show's core viewership. Harley-Davidson's decision to override the initial internal objections to the partnership had, commercially speaking, proven more correct than even its strongest advocates had argued. Number 5. A background bike, in Season 2, belonged to an actual SAMCRO extra. Among the dozens of Harley-Davidson motorcycles populating Sons of Anarchy's background sequences throughout the show's run, one specific bike appearing in multiple second-season episodes was not a production vehicle at all. It was the personal motorcycle belonging to an extra who had been cast specifically because he owned an appropriate Harley-Davidson and could ride it. The production's background casting department occasionally recruited actual motorcycle owners to populate crowd scenes, reducing the logistical burden of sourcing sufficient background vehicles from the production fleet. This particular extra's bike appeared in several sequences and can be identified by a specific accessory combination that does not match any unit in the production's documented vehicle inventory. The extra was paid a standard background performer rate plus a vehicle usage fee that he later described in an online forum post as the most unusual payment he had ever received for a day's work. His bike subsequently became a minor point of interest among the show's most dedicated continuity analysts, who identified it through the accessory discrepancy and spent considerable effort tracing its origin before the Extras forum post-resolved the mystery years after the season had aired. Number 4. The show's bikes were blessed in a ceremony. The production never publicized.
You know this crew? Fuck no.
Before principal photography began on Sons of Anarchy's first season. The complete Harley-Davidson fleet underwent a blessing ceremony conducted by a real motorcycle club chaplain that the production arranged through a contact in the actual motorcycle community. The ceremony was not a publicity exercise. No cameras documented it for behind-the-scenes content. No press release mentioned it. The production's decision to arrange it reflected a recommendation from their motorcycle culture consultants, who argued that beginning a production centered on motorcycle club life without acknowledging the genuine spiritual traditions of that culture would create an inauspicious foundation for a show dependent on authentic community goodwill. The ceremony followed traditions observed by real motorcycle clubs when new bikes join a chapter's fleet. Several of the show's lead cast members attended. Kurt Sutter was present throughout. The chaplain who performed it subsequently served as a recurring informal consultant on aspects of motorcycle club culture that the writer's room wanted to portray accurately. His involvement was never credited in any episode or acknowledged in any official production statement. The bikes that received his blessing in 2007 went on to carry a show that ran for 7 seasons and became one of the most watched dramas in FX network history. Number 3. Harley-Davidson's museum requested a bike from the show and was quietly refused. Following Sons of Anarchy's conclusion in 2014, the Harley-Davidson Museum in Milwaukee made a formal acquisition request for one of the principal hero bikes from the production. The museum's curatorial team considered the show's cultural impact sufficient to warrant permanent collection inclusion, alongside other historically significant Harley-Davidson examples. The request was directed to the production company rather than to Harley-Davidson directly, since the bikes were production assets rather than manufacturer property. The production's response was a quiet refusal that was never publicly announced by either party. The internal reasoning behind the refusal has never been officially disclosed. Former production personnel have suggested in separate conversations that the decision reflected a commercial assessment that the bikes retain greater value as a unified collection than as individual transfers to institutional ownership. 2 years after the refusal, several hero bikes appeared at private auction, achieving prices that retrospectively supported that assessment. The Harley-Davidson Museum's collection therefore contains no artifact from one of the most culturally significant motorcycle-centered productions in television history, not because the museum lacked interest, but because the production quietly declined to accommodate it. Number 2. The bikes carried hidden compartments that were actually functional.
Hey, oh, safe. Take it easy, brother.
Among the Sons of Anarchy. Production design team's less publicized achievements was the engineering of genuinely functional hidden compartments into several of the principal hero bikes. The compartments were required for sequences in which SAMCRO members were depicted concealing items within their motorcycles, a narrative device the show used repeatedly across multiple seasons. The production designer made the decision early in development that non-functional prop compartments would create handling and interaction problems for actors who needed to open, fill, and close them convincingly on camera within single continuous takes. Real compartments built into real bikes would perform reliably every time. The fabrication work was completed by the transportation department's workshop and produced compartments that were genuinely usable in the mechanical sense, meaning they opened, closed, sealed, and could hold actual objects of the dimensions the scripts required. Harley-Davidson reviewed the modifications as part of the standard approval process and cleared them on the condition that the structural integrity of the donor bikes was not compromised. Several compartments remained functional throughout the entire production run. When the hero bikes were subsequently sold, buyers discovered the compartments still present, leading to considerable online discussion about what the show's most famous motorcycles had been designed to secretly carry. Number 1. The most famous bike from the show sold for a price Harley-Davidson never expected. When Jax Teller's primary hero, Harley-Davidson, went to auction following Sons of Anarchy's conclusion, the sale attracted a level of competitive bidding that surprised every party connected to the production, including Harley-Davidson themselves. The manufacturer had been consulted about the auction and had provided a valuation estimate based on their internal assessment of the bike's collector significance relative to comparable television vehicle sales. The final hammer price exceeded Harley-Davidson's estimate by a margin that their communications team declined to publicly characterize when journalists contacted them for comment. The buyer was a private collector from outside the United States whose identity was not disclosed through the auction house. The price achieved established a new benchmark for television motorcycle memorabilia at auction that has been referenced in every subsequent comparable sale. More significantly, it demonstrated that the partnership Harley-Davidson had almost refused in 2007 had created an asset worth considerably more than the value of any direct commercial campaign the manufacturer could have funded for the equivalent investment. The executive whose deciding vote had saved the partnership reportedly kept a printout of the final sale price on his office wall. Nobody who had voted against the partnership in those original 2007 meetings ever publicly revisited their position. And there you have it, 20 genuinely extraordinary secrets buried inside the most famous fleet of Harley-Davidson motorcycles in television history. Sons of Anarchy's bikes were never simply props. They were carefully managed commercial relationships, cultural statements, and hidden engineering achievements that carried a show into the permanent record of American television. Share this with every SAMCRO fan you know.